Well, Ugandans go to the polls today amid tension in Kampala and other regions. The internet has been shut down while there were accusations of intimidation and unlawful arrests in the weeks leading up to today. President Yoweri Museveni, Africa's third longest ruling president, seeks a seventh term in office. His main opponent is the singer-turned-politician best known as Bobi Wine, whose real name is Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. SABC News Reporter Khayelihle Khumalo is with us today to unpack what the meaning of these elections in Uganda are. Khayelihle, good to see you. Talk to us about these elections.
Well, certainly, and it is a very watershed moment for Uganda. As you know, that these elections really, they've been characterized by all sorts of controversies, especially when it comes to the opposition leaders, where we've seen cases where some leaders have been jailed, but also most importantly, it's quite a very important time for Yoweri Museveni. We know that he took power in 1986. And for him, what has been a mantra of his campaign, Leanne, has been the issue of defending the gains, but also he talks about the economic growth in Uganda, but talking also about stability, especially in a country that is key in the Great Lakes region. We know that the issues around instability has been a very main issue for Uganda, but also the main challenger for Yoweri Museveni is Bobi Wine. We know that a lot of experts, Leanne, are saying that this is almost like a rematch of 2021 elections, where we saw also Museveni and also Bobi Wine, where they really just went head to head in these very controversial elections, especially now, especially because, I mean, it's a very tough time for this country where the youngsters are disillusioned, but also they're talking about a number of myriad of challenges facing Uganda, Leanne.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've done a good job in explaining the tension and the public sentiment and the conditions that the elections are taking place in. But you know, in terms of credible and free elections in an environment like this, perhaps you want to weigh in on this and concerns around that.
Well, absolutely, and especially in this instance where we saw the Communication Authority in Uganda, where there's a clear directive for the internet to be shut down. So they talk about their primary concern around disinformation and also the whole issue around electoral fraud as well. But for the opposition, they say this is not really good for a free and fair elections. They say that the internet should be open so that everything is very transparent. In fact, Bobi Wine has made it very clear that if elections are rigged, they'll be taken to the street in Kampala, and also just calling on the young people to really seize the opportunity, saying that it's been 40 years of dictatorship. It's high time for Uganda to have a new leadership. But also Museveni, I mean, from his side, he's really talking about a number of achievements that he has made, especially because, Leanne, we know that Uganda is a very key country in this part of the world in East Africa. It's surrounded by a number of insecurities. You look at the eastern part of the DRC, but also you look at the current situation as well in Burundi, but also it's a very central player when it comes to hosting a number of organizations, the likes of the UN logistics. So it remains a very key center. But for a number of Ugandans, I mean, they talk about change as well, especially the young people in the urban sides of Uganda. They do talk about the issue of saying that it's been 40 years, but I mean, not much has happened in the country.
Yeah, indeed. Just to sort of give us current news coming out of there, I was just having a look and seeing what some of the concerns are. Delays in delivering voting materials, long queues, you know, and this is already starting. And obviously there's electoral bodies, there is security forces there, and we are hoping that they are going to act impartially. But that's always a problem in terms of already seeing issues on this day. Perhaps you want to just close off with this.
Well, very much so, Leanne. It's always a very perennial issue, especially here in this instance, where we do understand the soldiers as well. They've been deployed across Kampala and so many strategic centers as well. But also, most importantly, we do know that you do have the observer missions from the East African community, but also you do have the African Union as well on the ground. It's led by the former Nigerian president, Goodluck Jonathan, especially, Leanne, in the context of what you've seen in Tanzania. I think there's a great deal of anxiety where we saw the violence really just erupting, especially where the elections in the continent are just becoming these major sources of instability. I think that's a major concern for the authorities, but the opposition as well. Quite a number of candidates. In total, we're talking about 8 candidates, and also over 21 million Ugandans are eligible to vote. So you do have those teething problems, especially because, I mean, this is a country with quite a number of people, but also Uganda's been a very central player, Leanne, in hosting a number of refugees in the continent, especially because geographically where it's located, it's right in the Great Lakes region where we've seen a number of countries really facing a number of instabilities. But you also do have those who are very optimistic about what lies ahead. They're still quite determined to see what will really happen. We do understand also that the Electoral Commission has really assured Ugandans that it's going to be very impartial, albeit we do understand the head of the commission himself has been receiving some threats on his life, but he has really assured Ugandans that it's going to be very fair in terms of making sure that these elections are really free and fair and reflecting the will of the Ugandans.
All right, we'll leave it there. Khayelihle Khumalo, a big moment for Uganda as they go to the polls. Thank you for giving us a little bit of a better understanding of the environment that these elections do take place in. So again, we'll keep on top of these for you.